Hello, I'm Morgan Hill City Manager Ed Tewes, and welcome to this video edition of the Morgan Hill Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about a new layer of government called the Oversight Board that will have significant decision-making authority that will impact the future of Morgan Hill. Last summer, in order to balance the state budget, the governor proposed and the legislature approved a bill to dissolve 40 years of redevelopment activity in California. His purpose was to redirect the local property tax revenue that had been invested in local economies into support for schools and core services for counties and special districts and cities. By redirecting those revenues, the state initially hoped to save $1.7 billion in the state budget by reducing an offsetting amount in support to schools and local government. But it was complicated because redevelopment agencies, including the Morgan Hill RDA, had incurred debt backed by a constitutional promise to repay it from future property tax increment revenue. It was necessary for the law to provide for continuing to meet all of those obligations. A new layer of government was established for each of the 400 redevelopment agencies. Called the Oversight Board, the new body composed of appointed officials was given the authority to approve the schedule of those enforceable obligations and to review the decisions of the elected city council as it exercised its role as the successor agency to the former redevelopment agency. I said it was complicated, didn't I? The City Council has steadfastly maintained that because the powers of the Oversight Board are so critical, that they should be exercised by elected officials who are accountable to the people and who come from the communities that are affected by those decisions. By contrast, others have suggested that the Oversight Board's duties can be most effectively carried out by appointed members of the staff. For example, here is an excerpt from a presentation at a recent County Board of Supervisors meeting.
The oversight boards will not make determinations on the value of particular projects or exercise any discretion on setting policy or developing new projects. The law mandates the end to redevelopment agencies and liquidation of their assets with as much rapidity as is practical. There is no discretion on how taxing entities share the money once an asset is liquidated. The law is clear that all assets once unencumbered must be distributed back to all taxing entities pursuant to their normal pro rata share of property tax revenue. In other words, for every dollar that comes from the former RDA, the percentage that will go to counties, schools, and cities is fixed. Recognizing the important fiduciary obligation of the Oversight Board members, the staff recommendations for appointment for any slots that the board chooses were first to the Finance Department staff, whose current fiduciary obligation mirrors exactly that of the Oversight Board in terms of their responsibility to the schools, cities, and special districts for whom they administer the property tax system and investments. And then to members of the Office of Budget and Analysis, whose financial and management accounting skills also match what we envision the duties of the Oversight Boards to be. It would be helpful to mention that the language of the law itself envisions this kind of appointment and specifically discounts any contentions of a conflict of interest with staff serving on the Oversight Board, stating, and I quote, "Any individual may hold an office in a city and county, special district, school district, or community college district," end quote.
At that very same meeting, Mayor Tate was given 1 minute to express his request that it should be an elected member of the Board of Supervisors who should be appointed to the Oversight Board. Regrettably, the County Board of Supervisors declined the mayor's request. Recently, the legislative analyst in Sacramento wrote a report that concluded just the opposite about the importance of the oversight boards. Members of oversight boards will have significant authority and responsibility to compare the merits of continuing a specific redevelopment project against alternative uses for its resources by other local agencies. And given the importance of the Oversight Board, the amount of funds it controls, and its highly expedited schedule, the legislative analyst recommended that the legislature monitor its development and progress closely. You too will have the opportunity to follow the local debate and the decisions of the Oversight Board by participating in its public meetings. The board must follow the Brown Act, publish an agenda, provide an opportunity for public comment, and maintain a record of its proceedings. All the written materials, the agenda and the minutes of the Oversight Board meetings, will be available here on the city's website. And you may wish to watch the meetings of the Oversight Board live online or here on Channel 17, the Government Access Channel. Morgan Hill's Oversight Board will have 7 members. The County Board of Supervisors has made 2 appointments, one of whom represents the public at large. The county has appointed its Director of Finance, Mr. Vinod Sharma, and the former County Chief Executive Officer and Morgan Hill resident, Pete Koutras. The largest special district by property tax share receives 1 appointment. Although the law is not clear as to how to calculate the largest property tax share, both the County Library District and the Santa Clara Valley Water District have appointed Mr. Don Gage, so he will represent the special districts. Representing K through 12 education, Dr. Wes Smith of Morgan Hill Unified has been appointed to the Oversight Board. The State Chancellor of Community Colleges has appointed the President of Gavilan College, Mr. Steve Kinsella. Mayor Tate gets 2 appointments, one of whom must represent the former employees of the Redevelopment Agency. Mayor Tate has appointed Ms. Angela Rivera to represent the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Mayor Tate has appointed himself to the Oversight Board, resulting in only 2 of its 7 members being elected officials who have had to stand for election in front of their constituencies. The Oversight Board has substantial authority over the City Council's decisions to wind down the business of the former Redevelopment Agency, and it has the authority to reverse those decisions about whether or not RDA's assets acquired with local property tax money will continue to be used for the benefit of the local economy. The Oversight Board itself has to submit its decisions to the State Director of Finance, Ms. Ana Montesantos. The abolition of redevelopment has created whole new layers of government and complexity. Because the decisions will have a direct impact on Morgan Hill, we will continue to provide you with public information and access to those meetings at which the future of Morgan Hill will be determined.